Hey everybody, thank you for joining me for the second installment of Subscriber Spotlight here on the DevRunner channel. My name's Paul. Today I'm going to introduce you to a gentleman named Ron Rhoades. He's a fellow runner and a fellow YouTuber with an incredibly inspiring story to tell. He's the survivor of several debilitating strokes, but he's come back and he's running again. And I think his story is just incredible. It's motivational, it's inspiring, so please join me, won't you, for this amazing interview. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the second installment of a new series on my channel that I call Subscriber Spotlight, and I'm pleased to have a very special guest with me today. His name is Ron Rhoades. He is an Army vet, he is a fellow runner, he's a fellow YouTuber, and an all-around amazing guy. So I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to speak with him today. Before I go any further, Ron, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Paul. It's honestly a pleasure and honor, and to finally get to speak with you first face to face. So I know we've been chatting over the internet and watching each other's programs. So it's finally get a chance to get to talk to you face to face.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing because I feel like as I said earlier, I feel like I already know you. So it's great to finally have the opportunity to talk face to face in person, like you just said. So. Yeah, before anything else, before we get into all things running, etc., I'd really love to just get a short bio from you. If you could tell me just like basically who you are, where you're from, tell me about your job, your family, whatever you're comfortable with.
I'm Ron Rhoades. I'm from Western Kentucky. Born and raised in Milberg County. County where John Prine made famous through his song Paradise. If y'all have heard that, won't you please take me back to Milberg County? And it was a coal mining town, small town, but my town I grew up in was Bremen, 1,100 people. I believe my graduating class was 45 people.
Wow.
Yeah, roughly. So yeah, very small school. We didn't have a football team or a hockey team or soccer team or even a track and field team. We didn't have. We had a baseball team and a basketball team. So it was kind of limited to the stuff we could do as far as athletics.
Gotcha. So that really that sort of intrigues me. So how did you get started athletically with such severely limited options in high school? What actually got you started running? What got you started in any sport?
My dad, he was a coal miner. Of course, Milberg County is a coal mining county, and he'd work a lot of shifts. But the time that we did have, we loved to just go run and, of course, try to beat Dad. My brother and I, and we would blaze trails throughout our farm, and we have a lot of woods, and adjoining farms, and we were all kind of one farming community because I grew up on a little 40-acre farm, 40 acres and a mule, I guess. And then our adjoining farms connected to us were over 100, 200 acres. So, we just blazed trails through the woods, and we're most, I guess you would call it cross country. And, and it was just always fun. We'd run 10, 15 miles and not even know it because we were just having so much fun trying to chase and beat Dad. And even when he beat us, we had fun, because he likes to talk trash to us, like, can't beat the old man.
That's awesome.
And he still does. He's like 72. No meniscus in his knee, and he'll still nod at me like, I can still take you. He'd come out and run on the bridge with me the other day. I'm like, I cannot believe you.
That's awesome. So it was like a family of like trail runners / ultra marathoners before it was like the trendy thing to do.
Yeah, we always ran, and it wouldn't be nothing for us to run like maybe a 5K down to the local uh, basketball courts, play 2 or 3 hours, and run back. But of course, growing up in a rural community, that's really about all we had was basketball and baseball.
Did you ever at any point compete in any kind of running events, or was it always just kind of like a family thing?
It wasn't really until I got into the military that um, we started getting into competitive running, and that was just forced by nature, I guess you could say, or the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
uh, and I was kind of nervous because I joined the military when I was 25,
Yeah.
and like having to chase these little young pups, and I know they're going to be a little faster than me, but I held my own, I guess. I mean, I wasn't the fastest, but I wasn't the slowest. Had a road march that it was probably 3 weeks later, 12 miles, and I finished it in like an hour 31. So again, that's with the 35-pound ruck, full battle gear, weapon, and all. And I was blown away by that, like combat boots and stuff too. So I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, broke another 5 or 6 minute mile for 12 miles. So I was pretty impressed with that.
Oh yeah, that's very impressive.
And then my marathon that I ran, just barely broke 3 hours, but I didn't know what a good time was back then for marathon. It's my only one I ever ran.
Well,
So
that's a
I
good
think
time,
it
I'll
was
tell you
like,
what.
2 hours 58, 59, something
That's
like that.
amazing.
It's just barely done, but I got it.
For a first marathon, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
all those years of training with your dad paid off, I'll tell you what. Cool. Now, Ron, not to switch gears or to change the mood too dark or anything, but
Okay.
one of the things about your channel on YouTube and one of the main things about your story as a runner that I really wanted to touch on here that I find so inspirational and I think will motivate so many people is your YouTube channel seems to be undergoing a little bit of a change in focus, maybe a pivot I could call it, where instead of focusing on shoe reviews, which I just want to add a note here that I hope you continue to do that because your shoe reviews are amongst the most honest and most comprehensive on the whole YouTube platform. So please keep that up. But the point I want to make here is that in our going back and forth in chats and stuff like that, you've made it clear that you want to start focusing a little bit more on your recovery from several strokes that you've suffered and the effects that they've had on your life. So if you don't mind going back in time to when you first suffered your first stroke and take us through the whole timeline of how you've managed such an incredible recovery from your situation and take that right through to how that's going to affect your YouTube channel going forward as well.
Sure. It was 2015. My wife and I were watching a TV show. I went to get something to drink, and then I got up and just walked into the kitchen. It was just like a bolt of electricity just shot through me. It's so hard to explain. It wasn't like a big jolt. It was just like a bunch of tingling all over. And next thing I know, I'm flat faced on the ground. It was not one of those where you can just catch yourself type situation. It was just like total paralysis. And it was just like a half a second. And then I was able to start moving my left arm again. But my wife came in to see what was going on. I think I got, being stubborn like I am, pinched nerve or something because I just fell. And so since I got recovery from my left arm so fast, I thought maybe that's what it was. Maybe I just moved wrong or.
Okay.
So I managed to pick myself up, my left arm, from the cabinets, and I started to take another step and wasn't anything there, and I fell again. I was like, I'm calling the ambulance. I'm like, no, I'm fine. And I just kept doing that over and over for, I guess it was up till 2 in the morning. I feel about 12 times. And I said, I promise you, if it's like this tomorrow, we'll go to the doctor. And sure enough, I was a little better as far as my left side, but my whole right side was still nothing. And went to the hospital and found that I had one ischemic stroke and 2 strokes caused by blood clots. And
Wow.
I think that's the first time my wife ever seen me cry. I wasn't like bawling like a baby, but a tear came out of my eye because I'm like, this might be then, as far as life as I know it. And
Yeah.
so the doctor told me I probably wouldn't be able to have use of my right side. And I just like, that's not going to happen.
Good
And
for you.
so it said probably be about 2 or 3 months before we could learn to walk. Well, I was out of bed that day against his wishes and all the nurses. But when they were kind of late, I'd have my wife, try to pick me up and get me into a walker and just battle through. And think I stayed in the hospital 6 days, and by the 6th day I was walking.
Amazing. There's sheer
And
force of will. Good for you.
yeah, and that's the one thing about I have reservations on as I go forward, and that's probably why I just jumped into the shoe reviews is more than I did when I first started out this challenge. Like, don't want to offend anyone or turn them off, that might have a stroke and maybe wasn't as fortunate as me. But
Yeah.
then again, I want to let them know that, you can beat it, you can get back. It's scary, but and because you don't know what the end result will be. I mean, people look at me now and they're like, yeah, he's out running, but I mean, I still have residual effects. I can't feel my right arm, but I had to teach my hands how to type again. And, there's a lot of things that you have to retrain your brain to do,
Yeah.
and things aren't ever the same, but you can compensate, you can get through it. And that's what I want to convey to them. You can do it too. It's just a lot of, it's hard, it's disheartening, I know, and it's so easy to just sit there and say, listen to them like, okay, I'm not going to be any better. Or,
Mm-hmm.
to me, the bed and the wheelchair is the worst 2 places a person with stroke can be, or anybody with any disabilities, physical limitations, because it's so easy to get down on yourself and give up. It
Yeah.
really is.
I'm with you. I'm
For
with you.
me, then before you know it, you kind of thrive on everyone's sympathy, and it's an addictive thing. Or you can get up off your butt and make things happen. And that's the one thing I was kind of on the edge about, because, what worked for me might not work for someone else.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
And their injury to their brain might be to the point where they can't. Physically just can't.
Yeah.
But for the ones who can, I like to give that motivation too, and
Oh, absolutely.
let the ones who can't know that, hey, we're there for you, and this channel's for you, and whatever little thing you can do, you might not be able to do some of the things that I'm fortunate enough to do right now, but you can do something, and your life means something, and you can make a positive impact,
That's huge.
even with
Thank
your
you for saying that.
limitations.
Thank you for saying that. That's just, you have exactly the right perspective. And I think, I'm sorry that you had to suffer what you've suffered through, but you're, as I said before, you're the force of your spirit and the fight that you have to come back is so inspirational. And it's one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you, on top of the fact that you're just a good friend at this point, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the message that you just shared with us is an important one, a very, very important one. And it's a unique perspective, especially in the running community. And I really hope that you pursue that perspective going forward on your channel, because it's really, really invaluable. And it's not the kind of thing, I just want to take the opportunity to say, I don't think that it would steer you into, I think you'll pick up new subscribers who specifically want to see you progress, and to help and encourage them if they've suffered through similar situations. But I don't, you know, my health has been good so far, but that doesn't mean that I'm not interested in your story, and that you don't have something to share with me personally. Just the inspiration of knowing your story is so huge, and I think it's going to just help your channel to grow that much more. And you know, I just want to thank you for sharing your story here, or that portion of your story here. And I just want to encourage everybody to jump over to Ron's channel on YouTube. It's Roadrunner Reviews. I'll put a link below after all this so that it's easy to find. But yeah, thank you for talking so honestly about this, Ron. It's just huge, and it's the kind of story that I, you know, it's so much more important than, you know, me rattling on about, you know, oh, I shaved 3 seconds off my 5K PR or whatever. Like,
Oh no, no, every little bit we can do is, you know, as we're running. I mean, we're not just out there for, I mean, we're out there for our health, but you know, we're out there for a little competition within ourselves. And I really think,
yeah.
I always was competitive with my father, as I said, but you know, at the same time, it's to get to that next step, to get to the best we can be. And that's what all this is about. And when I thought, you know, before I even started with the stroke and thinking, how can I motivate others? I'm like, what's the best way for me and my experience to get there? And that's through running, because it all ties in together, trying to be the best we can be, better ourselves every day. And that's, a wise man once told me, you know, to be a good man, you got to do the things a good man does. And to be the best you can be, you got to do the work. You just,
There you go.
it just doesn't happen. You know, you
Exactly.
see like people like yourselves come out, you know, sharing your stories with us, and, you know, getting me motivated, and sharing other people's stories like these interviews. And yeah, that's why I love your channel so much. And
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So let me ask you, Ron, in the present moment and going forward, what motivates you to run now? What are your future goals?
well, after my first set of strokes, I did have, about a year later, well, it wasn't even a year, about 8 months later, after I returned to work. It took a year to fully recover, or the best that I could, from the first 3. And the second set was actually 6 ischemic strokes, I believe, on the right hemisphere of my brain this time, and mixed in with a bunch of TIAs. And forgive me, I still don't know all the medical terminology. I leave that up to my wife, who's the registered nurse. Left side totally paralyzed, and that's when they said I'd never walk again.
I got you.
And I've already been through this once, like learned to teach myself to walk on my right side, and now I'm not going to be able to walk on my left side. And I just, be honest with you, going back, and I hate to go backwards in the interview, I really didn't know if I had it in me because that first time a year was so hard, and I was trying to progress because life, as you move forward, you're always going to have some setbacks. But this one, I just didn't know if I could overcome it. Just, I mean, I just gotten over that first one, and but then I laid in bed. I'm like, I'm either going up and just sit there and stare at the ceiling. You're either going to get up and do it, or you're not. You know, and what's left. And I just had a granddaughter who was born, and she was a year old, and I was just trying to find that extra motivation because everything that I used as motivation before just, kind of spin it. And so my granddaughter, they brought her, and I think you've seen a picture in my last video where I was holding her right after my stroke, and that got me going, and to the point where it only took me 6 months to recover, and the doctors are just like mind blown.
That's just
And
awesome. You're an amazing person. You really are, whether you know it or not. Just everybody,
so
just go subscribe right now if you want more of this. Just every week, Ron will keep you motivated.
yeah. So for all you out there watching, when a doctor tells you something, don't listen to them. It's all up here. It's all about you. So my first goal is to drop some of this weight because I know when I was lighter, the things I could do. Not to say that I'm going to be able to break a 6-minute mile ever again or run another marathon again, but a marathon is my goal.
That's amazing.
My goal this year was we only had one race that I was able to run, and it was a 5K. And my whole goal there was just to finish it, whether I had to walk some of it. But of course, in the back of my mind, I didn't want to walk any of it. Just wanted to finish. And I came in just a little over 30 minutes for my first 5K. And that's in 20 years. And I was like just so blown away. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. So I know I got a little left in the tank even at 50.
You got plenty. I'll tell you what.
But if I can just drop, I've already lost 30 pounds. So if I lose, I feel if I can just lose another 30 and get down below 200, because I'm at 220 right now, and get about down to 190. My target goes 175, but 185, 190, I'll be happy.
Yeah. One step at a time.
And right? I know we'll be able to put some decent times up. So that's awesome. So with the 5K this year, I'll probably just continue with the 5K next year and throw in some 10K training along the way and hopefully get a 10K or a half marathon in.
That's awesome.
Goes 5K, but if I can get a 10K or half marathon, and then hopefully year after a marathon. But we'll see how it progresses. If I progress faster, I'll let you know, and we'll.
Oh yeah, I'll be following along. There's no doubt about it. I'll be watching every video. There's no doubt about it. So Ron, I know this is just kind of a catch-all question, but answer it any way you want to. I just want to know how running has changed your life for the better.
Oh my goodness. Just to start, mentally, I hear it so many times, but it rings so true. When you're out there on the path, regardless if you're with someone or just by yourself, that's your time. That's the time that you can reflect, think about the things that just get in touch with yourself. When people ask me, tell me who you are, to me, that's the hardest question because, as time progresses and things happen and change, kind of lose that little bit of who am I really? So running to me kind of helps keep myself and I guess, contact with myself.
There you go. There
That's
you
the
go.
base, in basic terms, that's what it is. And I believe everyone needs that time.
All right, Ron. I just want to ask you to share what you consider your favorite piece of advice for runners, and it doesn't have to be, you know, it can be something that it's original to you or something that somebody maybe has imparted to you that you want to share. Whatever works.
Crawl before you walk, walk before you run, and uh, and that's my philosophy here lately. Just if I want to run a 5K, I got to walk it first, and then eventually just build it up your stamina. You know, whether you walk 5 minutes, run 10 seconds, or you walk the whole thing. Um, Maybe the next day you can run 10 minutes of it. Maybe it takes you 3 weeks, but hell, it might take 6 months, Paul. But
Exactly.
whatever it takes, and just get out there and just put one foot in front of the other, and eventually you'll get it. And uh, I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, it hurts." The first couple weeks it always does. I'm not gonna lie, and even after a while it'll still hurt a little. But I mean, you gotta listen to your body, and if it starts to hurt in a way that is not normal or not a normal soreness, take a break. It's okay. You don't have to run every day. We're not all experts. So
Exactly.
listen to your body and do what you can, and it'll be all right. And but the most important advice I can give is just have fun doing it.
There
Don't
you
be
go.
so hard on yourself. Like you say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you know people that are out of shape like me, or recovering from strokes, or who've been out of running for a while, like I have for 20 years, it'll come back, and
Exactly.
just have fun doing it. That's what it's all about. If you can't have fun doing it, then why do it?
Exactly. Exactly. It's all about the journey. I mean, when I realized that, it's kind of like, yeah, I love being able to say that I've got a new PR somewhere along the way. But if you didn't enjoy the daily grind, then yeah, there's no point in grinding. you know?
Yeah, exactly. When I look back through the strokes and where I'm at now, Lord knows I'm not exactly where I want to be, but it was the journey getting back. Although it was hard, it was depressing, and it made me just want to give up. To me, in life, in all aspects of life, the good times and the easier times, yeah, you appreciate them, but you won't appreciate them as much as the work you put in to getting to those good times. Does that make any sense?
Makes a ton of
Um,
sense.
yeah, because without those difficulties along the way, and the pressures in life and the struggles that we'll all have in life, we're all human. We're all going to face it. Those are the things that define us. How we get over them and get through them. That's what truly makes us who we are. And so when you're out there on the grind and you just like don't feel it that day, or you don't feel like you can go an extra mile, you know, just know it's going to get better. And just like anything in life, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
I want to give you the opportunity to tell people where they can find you online, social media wise, and everything you tell me now, I will share in the comment section below the video. So don't worry about
Okay.
that.
You can find me, of course, on my YouTube channel at Roadrunner Reviews. I also have an Instagram channel, which is linked on my YouTube channel. And I also have, I believe it's a Facebook and a LinkedIn account, LinkedIn on my YouTube channel. So if you need to reach me socially other than YouTube, all those links will be listed there on my YouTube. On Facebook, you could, if you would like to support these groups,
Oh,
United
absolutely.
Stroke Alliance Community, Stroke Education, and Stroke Recovery Support Group. You know, that's some ones you could throw out there maybe at the end.
Absolutely.
If
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
people who have suffered strokes, and they could go to those groups and get a little help.
So, all right, Ron, thank you for sharing all that. And I appreciate your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, as I said before. And I encourage everybody to head on over to your channel so that they can learn more about you and more about how to come back from, health challenges, and even just to catch your amazing shoe reviews, because all of it is great. And I love watching you running across that bridge, and it becomes addictive. So thank you, sir, and have a great day. And I'll catch you next time.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.